Hello traders, this is CloudChartist. I realized I committed a heinous sin when I did my weekly Ichimoku wrap-up video. I neglected to include crude, so I'm doing a separate video on crude oil on the weekly time frame, and I'll go over some shorter time frames as well. So starting off, we see that the last week's candle came down and tested the Tenkan-sen, which is the lower end of the range that crude has been trading in for quite some time. You see that crude has been moving sideways ever since it made its reversal off the lows. We put in this bullish candle on the 24th of August, and then we've been basically moving sideways with very long tails on either side, long-legged dojis, lots of indecision, lots of whipsaws. Very difficult to determine what the real price is, just a lot of messing around, really. Not that much fun to trade, a lot of chop. Then we had this very bullish candle, which tested the top of the range, which is the Kijun-sen up here at 50.17. Then last week we sold off after testing that level once again and closed around, I don't know, I'm going to guess that's around the 61.8 of the range between the Kijun-sen, this pink line up here, and the Tenkan-sen down here. Then last week we continued lower from that point and came down and tested the Tenkan-sen. So we spanned the entire range between the Kijun-sen and the Tenkan-sen in the last two candles. I hope you can see that there. So going into next week, I'm looking for the potential of re-spanning or moving up and down inside this range once again, perhaps taking a bounce off the bottom here and then going higher, or potentially we could lose the Tenkan-sen and trade lower. If we do lose the Tenkan-sen, which is currently located at 44.34, we do have some other areas of support. We could look to find a potential bounce, perhaps around 42.15 would be one area, and then where we put in the bottoms before, after putting in that big spike low, around 40.30. If we do move higher, we should again find resistance at 50.17. So the weekly is overall bearish for crude oil because price action is under the cloud, but we do have support at the Tenkan-sen, so that's one slightly bullish indication. The Chikou over here, the red line representing price action time shifted 26 periods into the past, is pointing downwards, reflecting the downwards price action from last week, and doesn't have any support. If it does get a bounce to the upside, it will run into resistance probably around slightly higher than the Kijun-sen, so the Kijun-sen is going to act as resistance before that. So really not a ton of information except that the fact that we did hold the Tenkan-sen. Let's go to some lower time frames for some more detailed information. Let's look at the daily. On the daily time frame, we see that crude is neutral. Currently, it's been neutral for quite some time. It's been inside the cloud and very much spanning the inside of the cloud and following the shape, the contour of the cloud as well. Also, it has been respecting the Tenkan-sen for quite some time as we attempted to break out of the cloud up here and retrace back in, and if you were following my videos at the time, back in the good old ticker TV days, I should say, it's really a shame that that doesn't exist anymore, but it's very unlikely, unusual that price can make such a big move upward and then break through the cloud and stay over the cloud, so very often it will come back into the cloud and retest lower levels before making a breakout, but indeed, it actually came down and tested the Tenkan-sen here, tried to hold the support of the Tenkan-sen. Then this candle on October 13th traded below the Tenkan-sen, and it has been below the Tenkan-sen ever since, coming down, sort of oscillating, and then remaining below the Tenkan-sen. We got a bear cross last week last week on Thursday, as reflecting the downside price action. So going forward on the daily time frame, I expect that we will continue to trade in this range between the top of the cloud around 45.83 and the bottom of the cloud at 44.51, so pretty tight range, until one of those is broken on a closing basis. If we do move higher, we will find resistance at the Tenkan-sen, which is currently at 46.32, and if we do move lower, we do have the support at this 44.51 area, 44.50. Another area of support potentially is if we do lose the cloud here. The Chikou, the red line over here representing price time shifted 26 days in this case to the past, will have support down here at the Kijun-sen, which is currently located, where, or will be located at 43.50. So if we do lose the cloud and have some strong selling momentum, definitely look for that 43.50 area to potentially offer support for crude on the daily time frame. Moving forward, the cloud, this narrow rectangular sort of shaped area of the cloud ends at the beginning of November. Then we have a cloud twist, very thin right here, so depending on where price action is located, it could move through the cloud in this area, either break through to the upside or break through to the downside. Then moving forward into November, we do have a thicker cloud and a rising cloud. So if for some reason we do move sideways and price manages to stay above the cloud, we could follow the contour of the cloud higher. Just one possible scenario. We could also, if price does not manage to hold the cloud, follow the contour of the cloud lower, but you do see that the bottom contour of the cloud is also tipping up as we move into the middle of November. Let's look at the 4-hour time frame. On the 4-hour, we see 4 hours pretty bearish. I mean, it's technically bearish in Ichimoku terms because the price action is under the cloud. But we did have several 4-hour candles to the downside, although we did put in a very long bottoming tail on the last couple of 4-hour candles. So it does look like there is a potential of a bounce, and that is also right around the area that I showed you on the weekly, the Kijun-sen area, which is offering support. So on the 4-hour, if we move higher, we should find some resistance at 45.15 at the Tenkan-sen, and then at 45.62. Please note that when the new candles open up this evening at 6, that these levels could be different. Also note that I'm looking at the continuous contract, so if we were to look at the specific contract, the levels might be different, but I'm more interested in teaching you the concept of Ichimoku for the moment. So anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. I don't want to go into much shorter time frame levels with looking at the continuous contract. So I could, let me just switch it to the current contract. So the current, 45.16 and 45.62 currently on the 4-hour. All right, thanks for watching, and sorry I didn't include this in my regular video, but maybe if you only trade crude, you're happy that you just had to only watch a short video. Thanks for watching. Good luck trading this week, and be safe.